In this lesson, we're going to also look at operations on rational functions, such as multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. This video, we're going to do a quick refresher on what the LCM and the LCD is, as well as look at how to multiply rational functions. Now, operations in general with rational functions are a lot like operations with fractions. That just contain numbers, whereas a rational function contains letters. Okay, so way back to elementary, middle school, LCM is your least or your lowest. Common multiple. Lowest common multiple is the smallest number that can be factored by both of these. So the way I do it is I take the prime factorization of both numbers. So 16 in this case, 16 divided by 2 is 8. Divide that by 2 more is 4. Divide by 2 more is 2, and that's left over. 72 divided by 2 is 36. I can divide 36 by 2, and I'm left with 18. I can divide it by 2 again, and I'm left with 9. And I know 9 is multiplied by 3 and 3. So if I look here, I have 2's, 2's, 2's. So what's missing from 16 to make it 72? Well, it's missing 2 3's. So I'm going to put 3 times 3 up top. And then if I look at the bottom, it's just missing an extra 2. Now, the way I personally do this is whichever one has the least amount of stuff added in, so in this case, 72. I'm just going to multiply what I had to multiply it by, or by what it was missing. So I'll do 72 times 2, and that'll give me 144. So 144 is the lowest common multiple of both 16 and 72. LCD, not talking about TVs, unfortunately. We're talking about the lowest or the least common denominator. Something really interesting, if you can do the LCM, you can do the LCD. It's the same exact thing, except we're just looking at the bottom of our fractions. Okay, so if I have 2x squared, again, repeat process. It would be 2 times x times x. 6xy is going to be 2 times 3 times x times y. They both have a 2. They both have an x. I got to multiply by 3y up top. I just got to multiply x on bottom. When I do this, my LCD will become, and again, will be 6xy, right? Because I only brought in an x versus 3y, times x equals 6x squared y. Now, if I do this, so if I come over here, say if I wanted to add or subtract, we'll have to do something with this LCD. But we'll get into that in a future video, since we're only going to be looking at multiplying in this video here. So when we multiply rational functions, it's going to be some function, a over n, times b over m, where m and n are not 0. Okay. What you want to do, you want to factor all polynomials. So you'd factor A, you'd factor N, you factored B, you factored M, still have them left in the same location, still have it set up as multiplication. You'll write as one fraction, which would be AB over NM. Next thing you do is you simplify AB times NM by crossing out the common factors on both top and bottom. Once you've crossed out your common factors, you're then going to multiply what remains. So if we go to page 7 of the booklet, we have x plus 3 over 4 times 3 parentheses x minus 6 divided by 3 parentheses x plus 3. So if we were talking, this would be A, this would be B, this would be N, this would be M. Right? Nope. This would be B, this would be N, this would be M. So we're just going to write all of this stuff together as one big fraction. So I'd have x plus 3 times 3 times x minus 6 all over 4 times 3 times x plus 3. I then cross out what's common to both top and bottom. So I have an x plus 3 on top. I also have an x plus 3 on bottom. So I cancel it out. I then go to 3. I have a 3 up top. Do I have a 3 on bottom? Yes. I have x minus 6. Don't have an x minus 6 on bottom, so I leave it. Once I go across the top, just to be safe, I'll also just go back and I look at everything on the bottom and make sure I just didn't happen to miss anything. So I have a 4 on bottom. Look up top, I don't have a 4. So this is what I'm left with. And then I just simplify. So my end result is x minus 6 over 4. I'll do one more. Now, I said you write it all over as one fraction. If you do these enough, you can just look for common factors. So again, still reading left to right. So I have an x minus 8 up top, x minus 8 on bottom. 4x up top, nothing on bottom. I see an x plus 10 up top, x plus 10 on bottom. Get rid of it. I'm then left with 4x up top over x plus 6 on bottom. This one is the last one. If you notice here, when I look, I immediately see 28 and 7. I know that I'm going to have to factor this. So it'll be 7, parentheses 4 minus b. And this is the only one I have to factor. Then I have b minus 4 times 1 over b plus 10. And unfortunately, I don't have any factors that are common. So now I just multiply the top across the top, bottom across bottom. And I'm left with negative 7b plus 28 all over. I'll do my box method. B negative 4, b and 10, b squared minus 4b, 10b plus 6b minus 40. And this is my answer. Now, really quick, you can always go back and verify any of these by typing what you're given. And right there, I just made a mistake. You hear me say time and time again, whenever you have a fraction, just get it done first. In this particular example, it didn't really matter, but I like to try and stay consistent. If you notice here, it says add a slider. You can, or if you put this in y equals, it gives you a graph. Okay. I'm going to hit y equals again. And again, my end result is a fraction. So minus 7b plus 28 all over b squared plus 6b minus 40. And if I look out, I can see that my red and my blue overlap. I know I'm getting a little long-winded and I apologize, but say, what's the deal with this slider? Right? Slider is nothing more than Desmos saying, hey, wait a minute. This is a variable that's not x, but they understand it's an x value. Remember, 3 random values, okay, that are not 0, 1, and -1. So I like positive numbers. Just say b equals 2, 3, and 4. When I put in 2, if you notice, it's going to evaluate it. And both of my values are the same. When so I will put a check mark for it working with 2. When I put b equals 3, it's also the same value, so I put a check mark. When I put b as 4, it says undefined. Okay, since both of them are undefined, I'm going to put a check mark as well. But that makes me be a little uncertain, so I'm just going to add another one. B equals 5. I get negative 0.466666. So it's the same. Okay. So, and this is for a rare occasion. If you have more than one variable, you'll have to do it as sliders. And just make sure your slider values are always different.